Hi guys, here is the form for area of irregular shapes. Now I know a lot of you guys are just like, okay, area is what covers a shape and it's measured in squares. How many squares covered a shape? But in life and also in math, it's not always like a really like, okay, let's multiply the base times the height. Sometimes it's like weird shapes. And like if you paint a wall, that is measured in square feet. You know, like area, if you put carpeting on the floor, it's square feet, but you don't always have perfectly rectangular areas, right? And sometimes they're a little just different, okay? So um, that's what the lesson is about today. Area of irregular, meaning you just can't use a formula shape. So one way to do it is, I call it dissecting the shape, okay? For this one, it says use square centimeters as your units, just so I can correct it and you can figure out your answers right enough. I'm going to take for granted that you know to square area the area. These are square centimeters right here. You're going to square. Those are, we're counting squares. Now, to get the area of this, one way would be we could simply count the squares. 1, 2, 3, etc. That's kind of a tedious way to figure that out. Is it correct? Sure. You can still do it that way. It's just kind of a long way to do it. Like it's not efficient to just count squares. Another way to do it is to, what I said, dissect it. So I can see that there's a rectangle right here, right there. Okay, and that rectangle is 2 by 5 or 10 centimeters. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Then I also see a rectangle right here. I'm going to do it in pink. Okay, now that is, it's not by 7, is it? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 3. What's 5 times 3? 15 centimeters. And then we're just going to add them up. That's one way to do it. Okay, you can add them up and put the answer down. But another way to do it, another way to do it, it's not really the dissecting way of to do it. It's kind of like the adding on. Well, we could pretend that's a full rectangle. Now we can just go, okay, 7 times 5 is 35 centimeters squared. And then we're going to subtract 2 by 5. We're going to take this away because that's not part of it. 2 times 5 is 10. Subtract way. Does it matter which way you do it? Not really. I mean, unless the instructions say write 2 ways of doing it, it doesn't really matter how you do that. Okay? So really I just gave you 3 ways of doing it. The inefficient way, which would be counting, and then the other is to dissect it or add on to it. What is the area of the gray squares? Do not put a label, only put the number. You guys, this would be listed in feet squared, okay? Or square feet. Probably the only way to do this is to count the gray ones. How many gray squares are there? But like I said, do you see where it says do not put a label? Make sure you're following the instruction because otherwise they're going to count them wrong. Once again, what's the area of the gray squares? Do not put a label in. Here's another dissect one or add-on. You can do it either way. So one way to do this problem is, I'll do the add-on first. We're going to make a full rectangle. Then we can just use our formula. 15 times 10 okay? However, we have to take it away because we don't have this. This isn't part of our, like, pretend that's like maybe a door or a window if we're going to do a wall. We don't have that part. We have to subtract it. Well, how are we going to subtract it? How do we even know what the dimensions are? We see that this side right here is 4. That's 4 right there. But how are we going to get what this is? Because we're going to have to subtract this little rectangle. Well, if we notice that this is 15 and this is 10, we can assume that is 5. Well, so then we're going to subtract 20 centimeters squared to get the answer. Okay, that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is dissecting, meaning we're just going to take this apart and make it into workable rectangles. Okay, we know this side is 15. Don't think, we're not doing the whole 10, are we? We're not doing all of 10. We're just going to this point right here. So I'm going to subtract that 4 and make that's 6 and that's 4. Together they equals 10, right? Because if this is 4, then this is 4, and then we all know that 6 plus 4 is 10. Okay, so now we're going to go 15 times 6, and we're going to put a result right here. And then we're going to do 4 times 10, and put a result right here, and add them up. Because now we're doing this rectangle, which is 10 by 4, and this rectangle, which is 6 times 15. And add both of those areas up. I need to erase that. All right. Here's another one. We can either dissect it, okay, break them up into shapes, and then add them together, or else we could do the whole rectangle and subtract this area and that area. Okay, I think for this one, making this into 5 by 5 right there, 5 times 5 equals, I think you all know what that equals, and then this is 5 times 13. And you're going to add those two up. So then we're getting this little square. We know it's a square because it's 5 by 5. And this rectangle. And then you're going to add them up for the total amount. Another way to do this, and I don't think it's as efficient, is, I'll show you how to do it. Another way to do it is you can make a whole rectangle like this. So then we know this is 13, and this whole side is going to be 5 plus 5, so 13 times 10, and that's going to be 130, right? And then we're going to subtract 5 times 4 here, and that's 4 plus 5 is 9, and that's going to be 4 down here, and 5 times 4 again here, so you're going to subtract those. Like I said, I don't think those are as, in this case, you kind of have to make a decision like, okay, which way is easier, which way is, faster, okay? Okay, here's another one. I'm going to let you do this. For all of these, and I probably should have mentioned it earlier, it is helpful to sketch these in your notebook, okay? That would probably, like I'm writing right on it. If you can do that, that's great. The secret word today is square. I already had that. No, we'll use it again. All right, practice your extra math when you're done, and have a good day.